Hi, I'm Janice Corsano, and this is How to Survive Art School. In this episode, you need to get the bolt and then go, hold on, let me get to know the person a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the bolt says to me, there's something about this person that is sparking something in me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me spend a little time seeing where they are. Always disappointing to you in some way, shape, or form, even though they're doing their best, because your best is so much more.
Right, you're gonna give, that's that 150, but you're doing like 250%.
Right. And so it would look like they're only doing 50 when they're doing their best. And to me, because my best is, she said, you're always going to have a thing with that because you, just who you are.
You're gonna go way out of your way
You
and
just
protect yourself less and those
do
things.
do way more than the average person would, and they're doing their best. So it would always look like to you, because you can do way more, that it would just seem like that to you. Like, she said, because you're so, the amount of energy that comes off of you and how deep you are and how, that it just a natural thing that would happen. She said, and who you are, and being a light and the things that you come here to do.
But do you get frustrated when that doesn't come back to you? Like, because I feel like I maybe do something similar. Like, it's that thing where I do sort of put myself, like, you know, all in, like, pretty fast, and then I'm always kind of surprised when people don't get it or aren't there with me. Like,
does it get
like,
frustrating?
Yeah,
if
like,
they're not doing, it can get frustrating. And for the most part, that's what I mean. That's why I was saying it to you, because, you know, like, you're, you know, feeling like you're going for it, and the person's like, oh, like, I don't know, but, you know, and you're like, weren't you there?
Yeah, like, I thought
like,
we were
weren't you there?
in this together on this, like, what?
Did I do this? But apparently I must have missed something over there, because, and that's where the feeling comes in, like what you're saying. It's like, so for you, it's like, you get the bolt, and instead of it being, that's where the jump, you need to stop the jump. You need to get the bolt and then go, hold on, let me get to know the person a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the bolt says to me, there's something about this person that is sparking something in me. Now, let me spend a little time seeing where they are. You know, where this is going to go.
Because I always assume that the bolt, me receiving the bolt, means that they're on this, like, that wouldn't happen if they weren't also
on the same page.
But their experience of it is very different than mine, apparently. But,
and that doesn't mean they don't have a bolt either. That doesn't mean they're not experiencing that.
Right.
You know, I mean, that doesn't mean, because, you know, with this person, what's his name again? With this person, it's not like he doesn't experience that, because otherwise he wouldn't be having all those difficulties.
Right.
You know, he's experiencing a connection to you. He just doesn't know what the hell to fucking do with it.
Right, because and also, I think, like, with him, like, his mind's getting in the way. Like, he's thinking, but I should be doing this. Like, I've had, you know, for him, he's been in relationships recently. He's been in a lot of extended relationships recently, gone from one to the other. So in his mind, it's like, I, you know, logically should take some time for me. And the thing I keep, like, and I agree, I think that that's important. I've got a lot out of my life, like, just from taking, you know, time to get to know myself, so I can support that in him. But it's also, like, people have to walk their own path. Like, you know, if this is happening now, then it's happening now. I don't really know, like, how to, I don't really, like, I guess, you know, I can say, you know, we won't talk for a year and I'll see you then, but, like, I don't know. It's also kind of like wanting to explore those that connection when it happens, because it happens so rarely.
Right.
It doesn't happen a lot,
and that's why.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Because if it happened every day, then we'd be like, okay, well, bye. I'm gonna have a connection tomorrow.
But then but then I think too, is that like a belief? Like, oh, like, well, maybe it could happen tomorrow. Maybe I, you know, don't need to get so hung up on this and treat it like something really out of the ordinary, because maybe it, you know, it's nice and it's okay to have, like, explored it a little bit, but we can move on, you know, because he's saying he doesn't really think that it's a good idea for him, and I don't really want to go against that or try to...
Yeah, try to force that.
Yeah, so... But then... Yeah,
but that may be the thing that actually makes it giving him space instead of your energy coming towards him, that you pull your energy back a little bit and say, okay, there's something between us. I'm not quite sure, you know.
Yeah, we're wanting, yeah, because, like, of course, like, people run to define it. They're, like, running to, you know, like, oh, found it, like, found the thing. And,
you know, I enjoy being with you, and but that's, you know, we don't know the rest of it yet because we didn't do it.
Right, and he's funny too. He's like, yeah, I just don't know, you know, what if like in a year and a half, like, I just don't want to start to feel tired of you. Like, I met you like 2 weeks ago, like, like, don't push yourself into the future like that. Like, he's like, well, you know, it could only end like 2 ways. Like, you know, one way is that it's, you know, we stay together, we get married, and the other way is someone gets their heart broken. I'm like, well, yeah, that's definitely 2 ways, but there's like a lot other ways things can go. You know, that's sort of like a belief, right? But
which would make it terrifying, because those 2 ways.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm not ready to.
Yeah,
you know.
both of those ways sound terrifying.
Yeah, it's
the idea that you would be like the rest of my life with somebody.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for that. Or get my heart broken. Either one sounds terrifying.
Yeah, you're like, why would I want to sign up for either? Like, and that's why I'm like, you know, I just met you. Like, why would we be making this?
How'd we get there?
Yeah, it's like how he thinks, and he's like, you know, kind of stuck in it. But it's like, well, yeah,
you know, because it's kind of amazing that those are the only 2 ways we got.
Right.
Which both don't sound good at this moment.
No, neither. Yeah, and I'm kind of like, I mean, I would like.
No, meaning the idea that people think that forever with somebody is actually scary. You know, because that would be saying, like, nobody else, just them forever. You know?
What did you say?
Nobody else, just them forever. Like, you know, that boggles their mind, you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's,
scary. And am I ready for that? Like, it's not a thing that you get ready for. It's a thing that just is, you know?
Right. And it's like, well, it's also like one day at a time here, folks. Like, like... You know, even the rest of your life happens one day at a time. Like,
that's what I mean. The idea that we put it all as a thing.
Yeah, it's like...
It's going to be...
Yeah.
You know, instead of like, yeah, no, it's not like that. We choose to do this, you know, for a reason. Not because, oh, fuck, I'm stuck there.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, we're not ever stuck there. It may feel like we're stuck there. You know, there's a lot of feelings of being stuck there, but we're not necessarily stuck. We're in between a rock and a hard place a lot. You know, like we really are. Like that feeling is very strong. Like rock and a hard place. I think that it needs to slow down a little bit in that. Yeah.
Well, you know, so the thing I was going to ask you before was that, because I saw on Facebook that I'm dating someone now, and I got, like, so surprisingly upset about it. Like, it really hit me, like, kind of hard, and I was, like, really shocked by it, because I haven't, you know, I mean, of course, like, he crosses mine every so often, but I don't think about it that much. And I was like, God, what does this say that this still hurts? Like, and now I'm all like, oh, crap, like, I have to go to this wedding, and if he's there with this person, like, it's, like, going to dredge up, like, all this, like, ugh, crap that I've, like, spent so much time, I guess, like, trying to, I don't know, hide? Like, I don't even know, but so it was, like, and then other things have been coming up, too, like, other, you know, of those sorts of painful kind of things, like, the things that I've been, you know, processing for a long time, like, you know, the dog thing, like, and I started thinking about, like, when I was, like, date raped again, and I was like, all this stuff is, like, in my face again, and I was like, what the fuck, like, why is this here? And, like, shouldn't that be gone by now? Like, shouldn't that have been processed? And what does it mean that it's not?
Well, it's actually in this time that everything needs to kind of go. So every piece that's left needs to come up. So it's not the same as it was before. It's not as big. Yes, you've processed probably 75% of them. And then there's the pieces that are left. And if they don't come up as emotional, you won't ever process them.
But what is that saying for it to, like, have hit me like that? Like, for to be with someone new, like, it's still that feeling of, I just wasn't good enough, like...
Exactly. That's the belief that's coming up. But see, you still feel that way? Like, you still feel that you weren't good enough in a relationship? You still feel that way somewhere inside of you. And somewhere inside of you, you look at, you gave him so much. Like, just, this talking about our soulmate thing, and, the amount that you gave him, it feels like you took everything of you that you had and gave it to him. And, when we say gave it to him, meaning you're the love of my life and the person that I see myself with forever. And for that to not be the case, then when you think that there could be with somebody else, then we think about ourselves as, oh, apparently they could love somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is what it feels like.
But it wasn't me.
Yeah. And
So,
I even remember talking to him about that when we were together, like, he was like, oh, I don't think I'll ever, get married or any of that stuff. And I was like, no, I think you will. I just don't think it'll be with me,
Right.
And he was like, I don't know.
But that's the difference in where you were at the time and where he is at the time and where you are at the time. Because him seeing you dating people,
yeah,
you know what I mean, may hit him in some way too. But you wouldn't even think that would. You wouldn't even think that it would bother him at all.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you think that your side was the one that just got hurt, and his side just went smooth and sailing away.
Right. It's funny because I even realized, like, in that, like, thing I was writing that was about that relationship, like, writing, like, how he didn't... I still don't really believe that he loved me,
So that feeling is what you're actually feeling. The idea that you literally didn't even think that he was bothered by any of this. And that you had this whole big thing, and he's like smooth sailing along, like, a little bump in his life, and you didn't matter that much. Wherever he was at the time, that, you're feeling all this emotion and want so much to happen relationship-wise with him, and he's like, well, I'm just not ready right now, and whatever he's doing over there, but that he didn't actually care that much. And the fact that you think that he didn't, is when you see the idea of him with somebody else, it's like, oh, so of course he can love somebody, just under me.
Yeah.
But you didn't realize that he actually cared, because otherwise why would he have been there for that long? I mean, it was unhealthy. Like, both of you were unhealthy at the time. You both did it with each other. It wasn't like you were just doing this all by yourself. He was still there. He was still participating. And you did have a relationship. It wasn't like you're fantasizing this and there was no person there. But the idea that would hurt you, absolutely, because you're thinking, see, I wasn't enough. There's proof.
Right.
He's dating someone. Although you have no idea what the relationship is. You just gave it a relationship. You just made it into something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, they could be dating and be done in next week. They could be, dating and be getting along great. Kinda. They could be in better spaces now where, you could actually meet someone that you can have more of a relationship with. Or not, but the thing that you keep thinking is that he wasn't affected by yours and that you weren't special to him and mattered. And that you're going to go on and date other people and fall in love. And
yeah, well, it'd be easier if, like, this thing, too, was, like, okay, so, oh, cool, like, that's fine, I'm dating, too, and then I'm dating someone who is still not emotionally available. I'm like, god damn it, like,
right,
routines.
Which is where that's actually coming up, where you're looking at him, and you don't know that he's not doing the same thing. That the person that he's so-called dating isn't emotionally available. Because someone physically available doesn't mean emotionally available.
Yeah.
There's way more to things than what they seem, and it always looks like that.
They seem pretty good, but...
And they could be, but at the same time, we don't actually know. We're always, giving the grass is greener, and yeah, look at how great they are, when you have no idea what the relationship is really. And if people had saw you at the time, whenever they saw you, they might have thought the same thing. Oh wow, look.
I don't think anyone thought when I had a healthy or good connection, but maybe.
No, I mean, there had to have been times when people had saw you that had met you and thought that you were fine.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
Probably.
You know, the people that are
a few times
are close to the people that are close, and the people that are close to you would know more. The people that are close to him in this relationship, you know, and hopefully you both learned something about relationships with that, because you continued in something that really wasn't healthy for both of you, right? He continued, you continued, because of the way you were feeling about yourselves.
Yeah.
You know, but the idea that you're going to go on and have relationships and love somebody and is okay, but it's not okay if you actually can do it.
Yeah, it's
because it feels like the bottom line is that, see, it just wasn't you.
Right. And I also think it's funny to think it's like, if I believed so hard, like again going back to this soulmate thing, like that he was the one, then like anything I do past that is me going against that. Like it's, you know, if I supposedly like believe that this person's like a true love, and then I'm, you know, gave everything to them, then I don't really have a whole lot to give to someone else. Like even if I've processed that, even if I've, you know, learned that it was just one of many like soulmate kind of experiences, like.
Yeah, but that didn't go in there yet.
Yeah, I don't think that went in there yet.
What you're trying to do is trying to understand it, which is why you don't even want to talk about soulmates at the moment, because the idea of it, that there would actually be more than one person, and if you think about it, how could there not be more than one person? We've been here way more times than once. We don't necessarily come back and find the same person. We find, you know, them in different roles, you know, so for them to be our relationship every single time, only one other soul, would kind of be kind of strange.
Yeah, it sounds strange. Sounds weird.
Like when you start to break it apart, you know, like the whole idea, it actually feels like, if you know, if we're going from a logical standpoint, that we would have more than one person that we've had relationships with, and that those people, you know, we'd have in different, you know, different intensities or different things that we've done to each other or different experiences that we've had, and that in this incarnation that we would, you know, be trying to, like in everyone, you know, trying to better them, you know, trying to better our relationship with them, you know, trying to either, you know, make amends for something, or to just make the caring about the soul from here, you know, more unconditional loving, you know, more accepting of ourselves and them. So when you think about if he's the only one, though, if he was the only one, then there isn't anybody that can top that. There isn't anybody that could even be close to that. So then everything that you gave to him would be, okay, everything that's after that would have to be less than, because you gave it and you didn't get it back.
Right, yeah. Still working that one out.
You know, so it would kind of say like, oh, well, no, he's the one, and since he's the one, I gave him all my stuff. I can't take it back because he's my match. There is no other match like him. So then I have to settle.
Right.
Which would then make it depressing.
Yeah. Which is, yeah. And that's why with me, like with this life mate thing, like that's why it just, like even from my own reading of it, like now in hindsight, like looking at it, like, wow, it just doesn't actually sound like I'm that excited about the prospect of a life mate. Yeah.
And a life mate is actually, to me, a soulmate that we've actually worked out more things with. To me, that's what it feels like. It feels like a life mate would be someone that would be, it would be an easier, not that we wouldn't have a lightning bolt or, you know, be connected strongly to the person, we would be, but that we would have an easier time being able to communicate better, you know, like there would be things that would make that easier for us, as it's like, wow, this is like an easier relationship.
Yeah.
You know, not that we wouldn't have all that passion and stuff, it would just be like, wow, this is strange, it just kind of flows.
Yeah.
You know, flows easier. Where we don't get as much arguments over things, or we don't, you know, we seem to understand each other easier, or we seem to, you know, they seem to get me. You know, where we don't normally say that about most people, like,
Right.
You know, sometimes it's a bit of a struggle, you know, with the communication. Sometimes it's a bit of a struggle with the way that we take things wrong and we keep doing it. It's like, oh, it's the same thing. We just keep doing that over and over, you know. And with a life mate, it feels like there's a little bit more ease in that. It's like, oh, they actually get me more. Oh, I don't have to say that 25 million times. You know, they kind of, you know, so that's more of the feeling of that to me. You know, like the life partner is someone, and it doesn't mean that person isn't a soulmate. And that a soulmate, meaning that we wouldn't term a life partner, wouldn't actually be the same as someone that we would be with. You know, that could be our lifetime. Because to me, life partner just means that something that comes in that gets us a little bit more and easier. But that doesn't mean a soulmate doesn't turn into that too. Because if we, you know, work out the things that we're here to work out, then that can happen also. It's the idea that we give soulmates so much. Like, it wouldn't be natural for our soul to have mates and more than one of them. You know, like, we almost make it so important and so big that it wouldn't be natural that we would be here and our souls would have mates that we would be working things out with, whether they were family, whether they were friends, whether they were, and that we were learning to, you know, unconditionally love ourselves and others more. Which is, you know, the bottom line of us growing towards, you know, light and love. So, why do we want to have only one?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I mean, that's what this is all about, is the idea that, for me, it still feels like you... I don't know. I have a lot of trouble getting rid of the idea that there's... It's just something, for some reason, I, like, really attached to.
Right, and for some reason that feels like a very romantic thing. You know, like, it's a very romantic thing. There's only one person that is going to click with you like that. And there may be, you know, one person that will click with you like that in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we don't necessarily know who they are.
Right.
Because we have more than one of them.
Right. And I guess probably too, it's not like, and that person may not be a romantic thing. It might be, you know, a friend who just happens to be like that kind of thing.
No, you'd still have a romantic one. Hate to tell you, sorry. Hate to tell you, sorry. Yes, okay. You'd still have a romantic one. No, you'd have them in, you know, non-romantic places too. But they're definitely romantic. Okay. You know, it wouldn't be like, oh no, we just brought your soulmate in as a friend. No.
Yeah.
You know, well, as a relationship.
But that's what I'm afraid of, is that, like, I just don't get that experience this life. Like, that won't happen for me.
Well, what's interesting about that is I would doubt that you would put that in your... write that in your chart as, I just won't have a relationship. I doubt that you would write that, because the whole point would be, with everybody, is to... everything's about relationships. So it would be to be having relationships with each other and to actually learn to feel better about ourselves, love ourselves more unconditionally, know that we don't need anybody, so we choose to be with them, and that we actually have our power and they have theirs. We make that little MasterCard symbol.
The MasterCard?
Yeah,
what's that?
You know, with the two round circles that overlap.
Oh.
You're a whole person, and I'm a whole person, and then we overlap each other.
Yeah. Not,
I'm half and you're half, so we're both fucking nuts, and then we come together.
Yeah,
and we make a whole.
Right. That's good.
Whenever I see the MasterCard symbol, I always think, yes, exactly. That's exactly how relationships work. You know, like, I'm a whole person, they're a whole person, and then we come together and overlap. But we're still whole people. Right. And then we overlap each other. You know, and that feels like the healthy way. Whenever I hear people say, my other half is missing, I'm like, so you're a whole person now?
Yeah, you're like missing an entire...
You're missing a whole half of you. Okay. And when the person comes in, what pressure do you put on that person to live up to be something instead of on yourself to live up to being for you?
Right.
On next week's episode, I didn't just, you know, pin it all on me as, oh, I'm this worthless piece of shit that nobody wants.
Right, because I also feel like I'm still exploring how I feel about him. Like, whereas in the past, like, I would have been like, any connection, like, he's paying attention to me, like, finally, got it, I win, like, you know,
right,
2 points. Like,
I'm done,
and I don't have to worry anymore, and then, like, you know, but now I'm kind of like, well, no, like, what am I worth, like, who, you know, I deserve a good thing, and if this person isn't available, or whatever, like, you know, I am also allowed to say, this isn't working for me.